Hi, thank you for joining us. 171 days and counting. That's how long the war with Iran has lasted, and it shows no signs of slowing down. Today marks the end of the 60-day negotiation period outlined in the memorandum of understanding. In June, the United States and Iran agreed to a 14-point plan in hopes of ironing out a long-term road to peace. This is President Trump signing it at Versailles in France. And here's how President Trump described the agreement on June 24th.
And last week, we signed a historic agreement to end the conflict with Iran, fully open the Strait of Hormuz, and accomplish what no president has ever been able to accomplish before. Iran will never have a nuclear weapon. That's done.
Since then, the U.S. and Iran have conducted retaliatory strikes. The dispute over the Strait of Hormuz has intensified. The U.S. reinstated a naval blockade in the strait. 18 American service members have died. Many families have sounded the alarm over mental health concerns on the USS Abraham Lincoln, and fears have grown about the nation's weapons stockpile, which is shrinking. President Trump described diplomatic talks today.
Well, they want to make a deal, but they're not going to make the kind of a deal that I feel is necessary. Look, we're in there for one reason. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon.
CBS News Chief White House correspondent Nancy Cortez joins us now. Nancy, has anything actually changed over the last 60 days?
Oh, gosh, a lot has changed, but not in the way that the administration had hoped it would, Lindsay. I remember 60 days ago rushing to Zurich, Switzerland, because the vice president was about to engage in talks with the Iranians, the promise of that memorandum of understanding, the next phase in talks. But if anything, we've seen those talks and those relationships atrophy over the past 60 days. From time to time, President Trump will claim that backdoor negotiations are going on, or that some kind of conversation has been reignited between the U.S. and the Iranians. The Iranians are always quick to shoot that down. Both sides have repeatedly violated the ceasefire that was supposed to be put in place as a result of the MOU, and even the talks between Iran and Oman that were supposedly so close to getting over the finish line just to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Nothing beyond that, but at least to get commercial shipping moving again. Even those talks have not reached a conclusion yet. And so even as the vice president says that the most important thing here is getting oil moving in and out of the Strait of Hormuz again, there is still no solution in sight that would lead to that happening.
Well, the president is now taking Oman and South Korea to task. So tell us about his beef with them and what he says he'll do about it.
Frustration with both countries. Oman, because it is the country that has been negotiating with the Iranians when the U.S. can't seem to make much headway. And from time to time, he will lash out at Oman, which is a U.S. ally, because there is information bubbling out of those talks that he may not like, or he may be frustrated that the talks are taking so long. South Korea, another major ally that President Trump has grumbled about in recent months, because it was one of many countries, many allies all around the world that didn't leap to help when President Trump said that he would like other countries to step in and send ships to help reopen the Strait of Hormuz. A lot of U.S. allies said they were happy to do that, but only once the war was officially over. And so now he is threatening to pull back on operations, military operations with South Korea, even saying that he actually has a very good relationship with the leader, the dictator of North Korea, Kim Jong-un. And just today he suggested that he has heard from Kim Jong-un and that they may be talking soon.
I want to talk about the messaging out of the White House, because President Trump reiterated the top goal for the administration is to prevent Iran from getting a nuclear weapon. Does it appear that he's trying to sort of backtrack what Vice President J.D. Vance said last week, which is the top goal is keeping gas affordable?
No, I think the president has hammered home this idea of stopping Iran from getting a nuclear weapon, because he believes that that is the argument that will work best with the American public, to justify the fact that the U.S. is still experiencing high gas prices, to justify the fact that this has been a very expensive war, to justify the fact that, it has gone on much longer than initially anticipated. So he will continue to argue that he is doing all of this in order to keep Iran from getting a nuclear weapon, which is a goal that polls show many Americans broadly share. But polls also show that many Americans believe that this administration didn't anticipate how difficult it would be to actually reach that goal, Lindsay.
We always appreciate your analysis, Nancy Cortez. Thank you.